Access Minnesota, issues that matter to you. Access Minnesota brings you the newsmakers and the stories that shape our everyday lives, with analysis from University of Minnesota faculty experts.
The decline in state funding and the rise in college tuition has been an ongoing trend in higher education for quite a while. But despite the discouraging financial figures, there always seemed to be a collective faith in college. The faith that a college degree would lead not only to a better job, but a better self. Now with high unemployment rates, a degree is no longer a guarantee for a job, and the average student debt is $24,000. This has caused many to question the value of a college education and has put added pressures on colleges to do more to help students in the marketplace. Though liberal arts majors stress important skills like critical thinking, degrees such as English, philosophy, or history are not inherently vocational. This month on Access Minnesota, we look at how liberal arts colleges are adapting to economic pressures, and we also examine what traditions within liberal arts are worth preserving. Access sat down with Jim Parente, the Dean of the College of Liberal Arts at the University of Minnesota. This academic year, CLA released its 2015 report, a document that outlines the foreseen problems at CLA and goals for the college's future. The authors of the report write, "This report is a call for renewal, collaboration, and partnership. The College of Liberal Arts must reorganize internally and become more efficient and more focused in order to provide better education for our students and better support for our faculty's path-breaking research. CLA must form collaborations and connections, not only within the college, but also across the university and with communities and organizations outside the university. CLA must pursue these changes in partnership with central administration, whose support is needed to realize and sustain the vision of the college with adequate resources." For the future, the CLA 2015 report outlined these goals. Focus or narrow the college's mission. Innovate toward distinction and success in teaching and research. Increase interaction across faculty and student groups. Promote creative service and public engagement. Increase revenues. Improve efficiency. And now, here's our interview with CLA Dean Jim Parente. Our guest is University of Minnesota College of Liberal Arts Dean Jim Parente. He is the former chair of the Department of German, Scandinavian, and Dutch, and former Associate Dean for Faculty and Research at the University of Minnesota. Dean Parente, welcome to Access Minnesota.
Thank you very much, Jim, for having me here.
Dean Parente, first of all, can you give us an overview of what the CLA 2015 report is all about, and why did the college commission the report in the first place?
The CLA 2015 report is a foundational document for thinking about the future of the largest undergraduate college and graduate college at the University of Minnesota, the College of Liberal Arts. We were determined in the report to make clear the essential nature of an education in the liberal arts. We were also determined to identify those points of the college that are distinctive about a liberal arts education in the state of Minnesota. And thirdly, we wanted to make a very clear case about the centrality of the liberal arts and the need for continued support for the liberal arts. And we thought that this report would provide a roadmap for helping us chart the challenging economic atmosphere that we have in higher education over the next several years.
What are the biggest challenges that CLA is facing at the moment?
The biggest challenge right now is really getting the word out in a very difficult fiscal environment about the centrality of the liberal arts. We are the college that represents foundational disciplines, disciplines that students study, courses of study that they pursue as preliminary courses of study for their postgraduate careers. We provide foundational courses in the humanities, in the social sciences, and in the arts that enable students to have a broad background and to embrace a wide range of careers, be they in law, medicine, public service, nonprofit agencies, and a wide range of careers that are absolutely essential for the future of our state.
Higher education as a whole is suffering from declining state funding and waning public support. In your State of the College address back in September, you stated that CLA faces some extra challenges. What are those extra challenges, and why do they affect liberal arts more than, say, other areas of study at the university?
I think the extra challenge that I was referring to at that time, and is still very much an extra challenge for our college, is getting the message out about the liberal arts and their importance. One reads almost daily about other higher education institutions taking a hard look at fields like English or history or philosophy, where in comparative numbers there are fewer majors than there are in more popular areas such as business or in some of the sciences. This does not mean, numbers alone do not indicate that the liberal arts are insignificant. In fact, we need to work very hard to ensure that that foundational role of the liberal arts is made clear. We need to ensure that training as an English major or philosophy major is clear to our students, to their families, to the broader public about why that training is so essential for communicating, for thinking, for arguing, for addressing some of the most challenging public policy issues that we have in contemporary society. And I think that that is the focus that we have taken in our report to be able to underscore that foundational role of the liberal arts and to talk about their distinctiveness in training our students.
What defines a liberal arts education?
A liberal arts education is broadly defined and has been historically so defined as an education in the arts, in the humanities, in the social sciences, and also in the sciences. The training that one receives in mathematics, the training one receives in philosophy, the training one receives in a foreign language, the training one might receive in a dance studio, all of those are components of a liberal arts education. All of those are components of a very diverse exposure to the richness of the liberal arts and different ways of thinking about approaching a complex array of problems.
What are you hearing from CLA graduates? How well does a liberal arts degree serve someone out in the real world? What kind of job prospects are out there for your students?
I have heard often from our alumni, even alumni who have majored in engineering and the liberal arts, about how significant the liberal arts have been for them in their career advancement. I know of several alumni who have majored in sciences or in engineering who have told me that the science training, the engineering training was a way for them to get their first job. But in order to advance, after 5 years, after 7 years or 10 years, it was their liberal arts education that really gave them the edge because they were better communicators, they were proficient in international matters, perhaps through the study of foreign languages. They knew how to make arguments about very difficult cases, complex problems that they were addressing at work.
The employment prospects for newly minted PhDs at colleges and universities are discouraging. Full-time teaching positions are few, the pay is low, and it's difficult to advance in rank. Some say the institutions are fostering an atmosphere where faculty longevity is rewarded at the expense of creating opportunities for younger professors. Is there any truth to that? And if so, what can be done to change that culture?
Well, there is certainly a challenging environment for PhDs in certain fields in the liberal arts. Now, in some fields in the liberal arts, economics, psychology, political science, geography, for example, the job prospects for academics is not that dire. In fact, those PhD students, upon completion of their work, have opportunities in both the public marketplace as practitioners, as well as in academic settings. The challenge, however, is greater when one looks particularly at the humanities, in English, in philosophy, in history. There is a well-documented decline in demand for such PhDs who are embracing just academic lives. Now, the way we are approaching that problem here currently in CLA is to begin to ask the question, are there other careers in the public sphere, perhaps in government work, in nonprofit organizations, where there can in fact be an opportunity for someone with advanced training in history, in art history, or in English, and with a PhD, where those skills would be welcome and advanced, so that we're preparing our students not simply to continue to populate the academic arena as professors, but also to open up to them opportunities more broadly than they've been exposed to in the past in other non-academic careers.
Dean Parente, we've spent a fair amount of time talking about the marketability of liberal arts degrees. Is there a danger, if we look at it solely from that perspective, that we are commoditizing higher education? Now, you certainly can have empathy for parents or students who are looking at a 4-year minimum commitment to come to the CLA and the University of Minnesota. They're looking at a very significant financial obligation as a result of that too. But is there a point where there is a value just intrinsically in learning about literature or art, something that doesn't necessarily have to translate directly into employment? Is there a danger if we lose sight of the other benefits of a liberal arts education and focus solely on the marketability of a degree?
Absolutely. I think there is a danger if we oversteer and talk about the liberal arts degree simply in terms of the least common denominator about what's going to lead to economic success in one's postgraduate life. A liberal arts education is an opportunity to explore deeply one's own values, an opportunity to explore some of the most intractable problems that are confronting contemporary society, be they in economics, be they in national and global security, be they in healthcare, be they in fact on the very meaning of life itself. The liberal arts education gives an opportunity to the students to think about that, to think about it at the same time that they're preparing for a career, a postgraduate career, but it is an important and an essential element of a liberal arts education that students be given the time to develop as individuals between the ages of 18 and 21 and to understand the workings of different areas of knowledge and to prepare themselves to be effective citizens of their communities, of the state, and the nation, and indeed of the world.
University of Minnesota CLA Dean Jim Parente, thanks for joining us on Access Minnesota.
Thank you very much, Jim. It was a pleasure to be here.
When Access Minnesota returns, we'll get reactions to the CLA 2015 report from students on the college's board.
Access Minnesota will return after these messages.